Hello everyone. So I want to share with you guys a great helm that I made. Okay, so I actually made this myself. I've been working on this for a couple of weeks. Went through a whole lot of trial and error. Initially I tried going with a round top, but I was having some issues. So I went with the flat top design, which ended up being a little easier. So the way with the flat top, first thing I did is I basically made this round part here, right, fitted to my head, plus about an inch to allow for the padding. There's padding on the inside, right? And then I took the flat top here, right, put this flat top, put this on top, and here's the interesting thing, and this is actually historical design. These straps that you see here that make this cross is what's actually holding the top in place, okay? So that comes over the top, rivets, rivets on the top to the top piece, and then it rivets on the side here to the side piece, okay? And then what I did, is I made this piece over here. Basically, I put this around the back over here, right? And what I ended up doing is, because it was interfering a little bit with the gorget that I have on the back of my neck. So what I ended up doing, see if I can get under the mail here. I ended up cutting it and folding the steel back to give me a little bit more space. Okay, so you can see how that goes there. Now, before well, here's the thing. So that I got that part done. So then the next part was the faceplate, which I didn't expect it to be quite as difficult as it ended up being, just because there was a whole shaping process, and at the time I didn't have a dish to shape it, right? Because in order to make this round, I have to put it into some type of a mold that has that shape, and hammer it. So I did not have that. Okay, so what I did is this was kind of like my prototype faceplate, right? Because this was a little easier to shape, and yeah, it worked. It was functional. I made the slits here because that was just a lot easier to cut. I did it. I said, you know what? I left it alone for a couple of weeks, and then I said, you know what? I think I can do a little bit better on the faceplate. So that's when I went back and I made the spaghetti strainer. Okay. And now, in order to shape this, what I did is I got a stump, right? And what I did is I took the carving wheel, and in this stump, basically a tree stump, I basically used the carving wheel and I carved out the shape that I wanted, and I was able to hammer this plate into that shape. So yeah, basically that's I used a stump dish that I created in order to get this shape. So that was part of the research, because in order to go from this to this, I had to figure out how to shape it, and the answer was a dishing stump that I was able to make. Okay, helmet came out good. I strapped it. Now, this is the helmet that I normally fight in. Okay, now this was not made by me. This was made by somebody that it was basically a full-time armorer for many years prior to making it. So this helmet here is about, I don't know, 15 years old. So this guy had probably been doing armoring for, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years before that. So this was made by somebody that like really knew what he was doing. But this is not made by entirely historic methods, right? So the way this was made, he took the two halves here and he electric welded them together. And then what he did is he electric welded the back plate here. And then with the bars here, these have been electric welded into place. So this is great. It's a good, combat sport helmet. It gives great visibility. But the issue that I ran into is that, like, there's certain events that I go to where we do armor as worn, right? And what that means is this is considered an open face helmet. So if somebody hits me in the face with just one blow, I'm dead. Okay, I'm considered dead if they hit me in the face, because this bar grill is not historical, so it's considered not to be there. It's just there for my personal protection. So one hit to the face, and I'm dead. With this one, in certain events that I'll be going to, there's one in September. Basically, this is considered real armor here. So with this, they would have to hit me 3 times, anywhere on the head. So 3 times on the head, and you're considered stunned, not dead, stunned, and then basically they take you prisoner, and then you can ransom your way out of it. Okay, so that's kind of like why I needed to make another helmet. I could have just made another faceplate and put it on that one, but I said, you know what? I thought it'd be a good experience to to just try and build a helmet. So with this one, I did not use an electric welder. This is put together using 100% historical techniques. So this is riveted together and shaped and forged together. I had to heat up the metal, shape it over the anvil. So this is a completely historical design. Whereas this looks historical, right? But the construction was modern. This was electric welded. Not that it matters that much. It's just that for certain events it matters. For other events it does not matter. Okay? So the idea with the mail over here, right? Basically, I hung the mail off of this, and the reason is because, again, for this event that I'm going to be going to, it's armor as worn. Okay, so normally the armor that I wear on. By the way, these are the type of weapons that we'll be fighting with. Okay, so this is rattan here, and then it's got a rubber head in here, and then it's got wood over here and wood over here, and we're hitting with like full power, full speed with this, right? So, so basically it's a giant baseball bat. We're hitting each other with these giant baseball bats. So on my upper body, what I will be wearing. Okay, so this is my gambeson. It's a little stiff because I just washed it. But actually, I washed it and it's been dried in the sun. Okay, so that's my gambeson. Okay. Basically, my elbows tight, strap in like that. Okay. So basically, this laces up. This used to have buttons, but the buttons basically came off. Let me just put this real quick over here through the holes. And yeah, basically what I did is I bought the gambeson off of Amazon. Did a great deal with it. It's actually held up pretty good. I've had this now for almost 3 years. Sometimes I've had more expensive ones that didn't even last a year. So that laces up like that. There you go. When my fingers are working. Okay, that's good enough. So what happens is this plate. By the way, these are rifle slings over here that I've used. I've had leather, but the leather broke, and I was kind of in a rush, and I needed something to hold this in place. So I just grabbed 2 rifle slings, and I made that, and then basically that in the back over here. Hey, real quick, I just want to give you guys a look at the inside of this body armor, so you can see how there's plates on the inside and the leather on the outside. Just holds everything together. My legs basically are put together the same way. So when you look at them from the outside, you see the leather, but there's plates on the inside. And what this does, this does a pretty good job of protecting me from thrust. Because remember, these are the type of weapons that we're hitting with. And basically, I don't want to get, I don't want to get hit in the stomach really hard because that tends to make whatever you ate come up. Okay, so I wear this around around over here. And what this also protects the floating ribs. That's kind of important, because if you get your floating ribs broken, right, because they float, then they start just kind of like floating around inside your body. They don't just heal. If you break your ribs up here, they stay in place. So usually I'm okay with not having any armor over here, because I have flexibility, right? So I'm willing to sacrifice not having armor. And then what I'll do is I'll wear this gorget here. Okay, so that protects my throat. It gives me a little protection in the chest over here, but still allows me to have maximum flexibility, right? Upper back is pretty exposed. So here's the thing, for this particular tournament that I'm going to, right? If I were to wear this helmet, let me put on. If I were to wear my old helmet, it's still like my primary tournament helmet, but. So with this helmet here, like I said, if I get hit in the face, I'm dead, okay? If I get hit in the areas where I don't have any armor, I'm basically considered dead. If I'm hit on places where I have plate, like let's say on my shoulders or my elbows over here, not the leather, but if I was hitting on the metal they would have to hit me 3 times. But on the soft armor areas, they only got to hit me once. So I'm at a disadvantage for this particular event. So with this other helmet, which has the mail basically drapes over this area over here. So now what happens, they got to, once I put the mail on, now they got to hit me 3 times, okay? Get this on. So the mail is really annoying to get on. So I really, I don't love it. After this particular event, I may take it off. The way it attaches, basically I drilled holes into it. There's a piece of leather that goes around over here, and then the mail basically just laces into the leather. Okay, so this is riveted mail. So this is a pain in the ass to get on and off. This is why I usually don't like using mail, if I can avoid it. But like I said, for this particular event, it gives me an advantage. Basically, they got to hit me 3 times instead of just 1 time. So you basically pull the mail up, my chin strap here. So that usually scratches the shit out of my face as I try to get that in position. And with the other helmet, I can usually pop it on and off pretty quickly, like if there's any downtime. With this, because it takes a little bit longer because of the mail, I'm less likely to want to take it off. Okay, so this faceplate then basically just goes around. Now, I'll probably, since I'm not used to this position here, because my other helmet straps a little bit more forward, I'll probably have somebody assist me. There you go, got it. All right, so the mail drapes here. So now I've got metal basically on my upper body. So now they got to hit me 3 times instead of just 1. And good thing about this is I still have flexibility. And all these little holes here, I have pretty good visibility. Definitely not as good as that other helmet, but this is, for this specific event, it's going to give me an advantage. Okay, like I said, the mail also means they got to hit me 3 times. but I'm gonna say that I definitely don't like putting the helmet on and off with this mail on, and also just accessing the strap over here is a pain in the ass, because again I gotta get past the mail here. Now to take this off, let's see, will it lift off? Sometimes you gotta lean forward a little bit. There we go. That comes off like that. And that comes off. So there it is. That's the helmet that I made. I mean, I could touch this up a little bit more, but you know, at this point, I think it's at a point where down the road, I just make another one. Especially now that I kind of got the idea of how to make these. The next one, I'll try to make it round because I kind of figured out how to dish this. So the same way, the same tree stump that I used to dish this, I can dish out the two halves. The two halves that would come together and either rivet together, or if I decide to go non-historical, I'll just electric weld them together. But yeah, I mean, not bad. I mean, for a first helmet, you know, I'm pretty happy with it. So anyway, drop some comments. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you soon.